Welcome back to Theoretical Nonsense. Today we're going to be discussing Season 5, Episode 1, the Skank Reflex Analysis. On today's episode, we're discussing pinworms, Kamadeva, the Love God, and Catherine the Great. Stay tuned. Welcome to Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required.
We're the podcast that recaps all the episodes of The Big Bang Theory. No spoilers.
So hop into your favorite spot,
Make yourself a grasshopper,
and enjoy the ride. Hello there, Ryan.
Hello,
gotcha
Rob.
Mid-drink.
Mid-drink.
Gotcha. Welcome to Season 5, Episode
We're
1,
here.
the Skank Reflex Analysis.
This was a solid start to a season. We talked about it a little bit in the Season 4 recap that it picks up the next day, and that's where we want to see things happening, and they do. It's a great pickup.
I do love that it was literally just hours later. Like, the events that transpired literally happened that morning.
Mm-hmm. They are still... And I have to say that this might be one that I've seen part of in the past. And it's one that I had no idea what was going on. I don't think I saw the full thing. But I was having deja vu of the paintball scene. And I'm like, that seems a little too familiar. I think I saw what happens with them playing paintball. Although they've played some other... They haven't played paintball before, though, right?
They have.
They have?
They've played a couple times already.
So maybe I'm just thinking of those, but this seemed
And they
really...
will play again in the future, too, so... Maybe it was this episode, maybe it was a different one.
Maybe it was a different one. Something about Sheldon going out and being a martyr was what really hit home. Like, that seems familiar, but, I could be dreaming it.
I think this was the only one where he's a martyr.
So, maybe that could be. And, yeah, it's around the time where I knew somebody who watched the show, and sometimes he would have it on in the background, so maybe... Yeah, it was when I was in Texas, so maybe I saw it here or there, but didn't see the whole thing, wasn't paying attention. It's just that scene. I'm like, that seems really familiar. Alright, so yeah, solid episode. Should I jump on in?
Before we jump on in, we have a little bit of housekeeping.
Oh, yeah?
We have an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. We love communicating with everyone, so shoot us an email. And leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. We love those 5-star reviews, so if you give us a 5-star review, we will give you a shout out. Also on YouTube at Theoretical Nonsense, so like and subscribe. I think that's it. Let's go for it. Season 5.
Season 5. So we are on the Skank Reflex Analysis. This aired September 22nd, 2011, so pretty close to today. Like just, 14 years ago, right? So, kind of crazy. Directed by Mark Sandrowski. Writers Chuck Lorre, Bill Prady, and Stephen Milaro. We start up in the cafeteria. This is just a couple hours later, and Sheldon is still confused about Penny walking out of the bedroom last season, and Raj walking out, and Penny saying it's not what it looks like. And he's confused because... It looks like they had sex, so if it's not what it looks like, they can rule out sex. So what was it? And he puts on his thinking cap, and he gestures to him putting on a cap and tying it around his face. And he goes, Raj is from India. India is known for parasites and pinworms. Maybe she was making a diagnosis by checking his rectum while he slept, because these pinworms come out for air while their hosts sleep. And this is the first IQ point. Did you look into this?
I did.
We're
starting off strong with Season 5.
Right?
Parasites.
Going straight into the butt parasites.
Yeah, I can take this one. I found this on parasites.org, Mayo Clinic, and Cleveland Clinic. So pinworms are actually very common in the United States. So Raj being from India really isn't that relevant. I mean, the whole point of like connecting them with India really wasn't the most relevant thing because it actually is very common in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Pinworms are actually the most common type of worm infection in the United States, affecting 40 million people in the United States and 1 billion worldwide. People of all ages are capable of getting pinworms, but it's most common in children ages 4 to 11. So, if here are some symptoms in case you might have pinworms. And this is actually the scariest part about this is that 1 out of 3 infected people do not experience symptoms.
That
So they
is
could just be
terrifying.
inside you, just crawling out of your butt at night, and you don't even know.
Poking out, saying hello.
Hello. Others experience intense itching near the anus, especially when they're trying to sleep, because the female pinworms will lay eggs around the anus at night. So this causes anal itching, possible vaginal itching for women, and sleeplessness. So how do you get pinworms? So you get it by ingesting the microscopic eggs. There could be a contaminated surface somewhere, and when you touch it, they attach to your hands. And then if you don't wash well, it could end up inside you. So as you like pick up food, or if you just lick your fingers, you just had chips. Yum, yum, yum. Tastes wormy. The eggs will eventually hatch in your intestines, and then they'll just start laying more eggs. So, how do you check for pinworms? You think you might have it, how do you check? So you check for pinworms about 2 to 3 hours after you fall asleep. Around this time, pinworms will make their way out of your rectum to lay eggs around your anus. Pinworms look small, thin, and grayish white, like little pieces of thread. And this is why sometimes they're called threadworms. You may also find them wriggling around in your underwear or bed sheets. So if your child has pinworms, they may appear in their stool or somewhere on like their toilet paper, like when you wipe, but that's rare. So it's much easier to identify them on your child's skin. It's like by actually looking at your butthole. So you can also capture the worms using clear Scotch tape. So I guess when they're coming out, you kind of just the advantages of YouTube right now. You do this.
Get over here. Gotcha.
Definitely let your health provider know that you either saw them or that you might suspect that you or your child has them. And this is how you check for eggs. You could collect the eggs with the tape. So there's the tape test. So place a piece of clear tape sticky side down over your child's anal area as soon as they wake up in the morning, and the eggs will stick to the tape. Take the tape to your child's pediatrician, follow their directions about how to safely share the sample. They'll use a microscope to check for the eggs. So now you're probably wondering about treatment. So if you have pinworms, it's usually an oral antiparasitic medication. And then you should definitely wash everything. Your clothing, your bed linens, your towels, hot water as hot as possible.
Throw your kid in the washing machine.
Yep. And the dryer.
And the
Set
dryer.
that to sanitation. Sanitation mode.
Come here, Bobby. You're getting sanitized. What? Mom. Thump, thump, thump,
But
thump.
definitely go see your doctor because you cannot get rid of them without this medication. They'll never go away on their own. You have to take the medication. So overall prevention, just general hygiene. It's like what they always say, wash your hands. This is why we're always supposed to wash our hands. Always, always, always. Ryan, I remember you just told me this horror story when on the cruise that you were just on. It's like, come on, people, wash your hands.
If did I tell on the podcast or was it before it? But
That was
basically,
before, yeah. So we never talked about that.
that on cruise ships, like they fight infections, really, they take it very seriously. There are hand sanitizers like all over the boat for you to get sanitizer on and just like sanitize your hands. But they also have like wash stations like in front of the dining room and the buffet, and they have somebody directing you in like wash your hands, wash your hands. Of course, they can't force you to go in there and they can't wash your hands for you. And so I was waiting to wash my hands, and a guy like butts by everybody, and the guy who's trying to direct people in to wash their hands is like, "Oh, sir, could you wash your hands?" And he's like, "I don't need to wash my hands." And he goes, "Could you just use the sterilizing stuff?" He goes, "No, I'm just getting some food for myself." And like kept walking, and I think I mentioned like the guy who says wash your hands kind of put like a hand on his back, like, "Oh, sir," just trying to get his attention. And the guy like kind of elbowed him off, like, "Don't touch me" type thing. And I'm standing there, and I'm just like, what a fucking dick. Like, you might be sick and you might not care about getting sick, but when you go over there and touch shit with your shitty ass hands, and I know you've been wiping your ass with those shitty ass hands, and you don't sanitize them, you touch utensils, you touch dining ware, you touch chairs, and now everybody else is going to get that because you are a dirty piece of shit. I feel very strongly about this, so yeah.
There was an episode of Scrubs that they actually use when they teach people about washing hands. It was in I don't remember I know it was really early on, but there was a scene where some disposal got thrown on the ground and it was glowing green to kind of illustrate that it was infected. And someone picked it up, threw it away, then they were infected, then they shook someone's hand and it just showed how the infection spreads just off touching.
Very
They actually,
quickly.
like real doctors actually use that to kind of like illustrate to their students like the power of washing hands.
There is a episode of Invader Zim where I don't even remember what the show was about entirely, but I remember the main character goes in and puts these like glasses on to see like bioorganisms, and like he goes into what's supposed to be like a sterile restaurant. He puts them on, and there's shit crawling all over everything. And he's like, "Ah, it's dirty."
Did you get to that episode of The Office when they're in the hotel room and they turn the black light on?
It sounds familiar. I don't know if I saw it though. Yes, yes, I
Sure,
did.
wasn't sure if you're that far yet.
I think so.
Humans are disgusting, is what
We
we're
are
getting at.
disgusting. Wash your hands, not just for yourself, but just because you don't want to kill other people. That's basic human decency.
And you don't want pinworms.
So,
All right, well, that's all I had on pinworms.
I had a couple things. You got most everything. I wanted to add a couple things. I tried figuring out why does it actually make your rectum itchy, and I couldn't find anything specific except for that the eggs are laid in a sticky jelly-like substance, and it seemed like the female worm's wiggling and that jelly-like substance causes irritation on the skin, and that irritation is what causes the itching. That things crawling out of your butt doesn't necessarily itch, but something about this gel stuff causes the irritation because the eggs want to be spread, so it's actually acting up to make you feel like you need to itch. I also got that technically the eggs are small enough that they can spread on dust and you could breathe them in. So technically, to some extent, you might just be screwed getting them. Like you could wash day and night, and it's definitely going to help. But if it's on dust and a piece of dust just flies into your mouth, like the universe
Oh
has it
my
out for
god.
you, right? Terrifying. I also found out that dogs, cats, and other household pets don't get them. They're like pretty much human oriented. So it's not
Oh.
something about your dog brought them in from outside. It's your kid came in, scratched their ass, and then touched something. And like you said, they can live on bedding and clothes for like weeks on end. So like if the bedding hasn't been changed, you can get it from them. Um, Also, he says they come out to breathe, and I don't think that's entirely true
No.
because the worms, the way I was reading it is they can be dependent on oxygen for metabolism, but when they're in your system, they don't necessarily need to be breathing like they have enough oxygen in there, and the way they work, they don't need it because it's in the food. That's my guess. But the eggs need fresh oxygen to mature. So they do come out to get the oxygen for their eggs, but it's not like they're not like whales where they're coming up to surface to take a deep breath and then they go back in your ass. It's more for the eggs that they can survive in the bowels. And I wanted to point out that I read the story a while ago, but as we were saying that, it's really people all around the world of all ages, of all social statuses. Kristen Bell has gone on interviews talking about when she had them, that her kid brought them home from school or something, and she had like a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old or something, 4 and 6-year-old. And I don't think her husband got them. Dax Shepard, is that his name?
Yeah.
But she mentions it was so freaking itchy. That itch is unbearable. And so I'm like, man, if Kristen Bell can get them, anybody can get them. I love her. I think she's a great actor. So it was interesting. She's beautiful,
I
so it's
got
all good.
once I did this IQ point, I was like on hyper alert, and then I saw my kid scratching his butt, and I wasn't sure if he was going for his anus or if he was just scratching like his butt or something, like like his cheeks or anything like that.
Yeah.
I freaked the fuck out. I was like, no.
No.
And then I realized it was just the cheek, and he has been sleeping through the night, so it's like, okay, not pinworms.
Not pinworms. I'm picking up some tape just in case.
Yeah.
I gotta tape your
Sanitize
butthole.
everything. Throw the kid in there. Kill it.
Do it. It's that episode of It's Always Sunny where Danny DeVito gets paranoid and starts lathering himself up in hand sanitizer. And then he's like, the bacteria is in the hair. I have to shave off everything. And he shaves his whole body. And then he's like covered in slime and he's crawling around. And he looks like a slug. It's so great. It's like, I gotta get rid of the bacteria. You're so dirty. And then at the end, they have to take him to a hospital because he's like got poisoning from all the sanitizer. And this doctor or this nurse comes in and he's like, up, time to give you a sponge bath. And the nurse is like, got these thick, hairy arms with like a beard and stuff. And Danny DeVito's like, no. It's like, it's in the hair. All right, so after that discussion, Leonard spits his food out. And Penny could have been inspecting Raj's anus for parasites. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, that got to Leonard a little bit too. Leonard explains that Penny lied. They did have sex. And Sheldon like thinks about this for a little bit and says it finally clicks and he's like, man, I look silly wearing my thinking cap, and takes it off.
Yeah.
So he's been like really, really thinking about this for the last few hours. I like that scene. Great opening scene, ties it into the last season. And we have the intro. Come back, and we're at the cafeteria, and Raj sits down, and Leonard gives him the stink eye. I think this is just a coincidence, but if you look at his jacket, Raj's jacket, he looks like the robot from Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, I did not analyze that.
Like, I think it's just a coincidence, but that shade of black, purple, and green looks like the robot from Neon Genesis. And like, I looked into it, I'm like, is this just... I think it's just kind of random fluke, but man, those are very specific colors to go together that I think they look good, but it makes me think of robots. So the situation's awkward. He's getting the stink eye. Sheldon asks if it's awkward for Leonard to know his friend had sex with the woman he used to love in the place he rests his head. I like that statement because, like, yeah, Leonard says, no, he's fine with it, but that sounds kind of sarcastic. Sheldon brings up that he has an idea of playing paintball and they should do it. Nobody really seems interested. And he starts going into how he outranks the other guys, but he doesn't know what rank he should have, which is kind of an ongoing joke through the episode. Leonard finally gets mad at Raj. Raj says he's just mad that Penny's made it clear that Raj is the second choice. And Howard chimes in that he would have had Penny if he wasn't engaged, that he would have been the second choice. Leonard says Sheldon would be the second choice before Howard, and Sheldon might not even have genitals. So he's saying that Raj and Howard really don't have a chance with Penny. Raj asks why Leonard cares, and I think that's a really fair question. They're broken up, and if your friend can get with somebody and be happy, if you're friends with them and you really are over someone, you should be happy for that. uh,
Especially since he was in such a serious relationship with Priya, too. It's
Raj's
like
sister, right?
because that's officially moving on. When he
Mm-hmm.
was dating Priya, like they were at a level where he moved on. So Penny is in the past. Your ex doesn't
Exactly.
even matter.
And as bad as an ex is, like I think both ways that you don't control another person. So if it's your sister or your ex, but people usually say like you're dating my sister, that's terrible. But that's as bad as an ex. I feel like they're on the same level. So Leonard really has no place to talk. That especially because he was also having sex in Raj's bed. We established in episode 23, I think, that what did he say? Was it no? It was a season finale. He's making memories in my
Ugh.
memory foam mattress. That's what it was. And she's having sex in his Halloween costume. Like that's worse than sleeping with an ex. So Leonard had this coming. Raj mentions that him and Penny are in love. He seems very kind of delusional about the situation, and he claims the god Kamadeva has shot them with his flowery arrows of love. And he claims Kamadeva is a Hindu version of Cupid, but he rides a parrot. And so I looked into this. You look into this some?
I did.
Good.
Do you
You
want me
may
to go
take this
first?
one first, and then you can
You can go
pick up.
first. I took first last time.
Sure. So I found most of this at moddytoys.com, and apparently it looks like they sell a stuffed doll of Kamadeva, and that's why I'm like, oh, that interests me. I'll take your information. And I got some from a couple other websites, but it says Kamadeva is the god of love, basically, and the complexity of love. And the story is that the myth is Lord Brahma needed something to keep creation thriving, and in his need to give creation reason to keep on going, he created Karmadeva, who emerged from Lord Brahma's heart. And with him, he brought love and desire. He also had a wife named Rati, Rati, who is the goddess of passion. And together they brought love into the hearts of all. And apparently, the name Kamadeva is Sanskrit and literally like, translates to Kama, which is desire, and Deva is God. So it's kind of like Kama Sutra, which I guess I didn't realize this, but Kama Sutra, which we think of as the book of love, is principles of desire, because Kama is desire and Sutra is principles. And I also made note that apparently this book, Kama Sutra, is usually misunderstood, that we often think it's just about sex, but it's about living a virtuous and gracious life and having desire to live a great life. So some symbols about Kamadeva is he does have a bow and arrow. The bow is made out of sugarcane because love is sweet and his bow is sweet. The bowstring is said to be made out of humming bees that represent love's gentle murmurs, I guess. He has 5 flower arrows that awaken different aspects of love. The lotus arrow opens hearts to pure love. The Ashoka arrow is for sweet longing. The mango blossom arrow sparks passion. Jasmine draws souls together, and the blue lotus arrow deepens devotion. He also does ride a parrot who is supposed to, although I put a note here too that sometimes he's depicted as parrots kind of pulling him in a cart, but saw pictures of him actually riding a parrot, so it might be one parrot or multiple. But the parrots share or represent the sharing of love's messages and passionate speech. So they all kind of represent something. And I also made note of a story because Kamadeva is known as something else as well. That apparently Shiva was in deep meditation, and Shiva was needed because there were some demons attacking, and Kamadeva was called on to shoot Shiva with an arrow to wake him up. And so Kamadeva shot him, and Shiva's third eye opened up. And since he was in the middle of meditation, his focus and energies shot a beam out of his third eye and basically fried Kamadeva, turning him to ash, killing him. And Kamadeva's wife expressed her grief and her devotion moved everyone. Everybody felt bad for what had happened, and Shiva apparently gave Kamadeva a new lease on life, creating a new creation, or is Kamadeva as a new form named Ananga, but which translated to like the bodiless one, the formless one. And I guess that's to suggest that love is intangible and like everywhere and is part of everything. But it is kind of unclear on what that symbolism was exactly. And I've also read that although it's intangible, it being formless and bodiless shows that through trial and punishment, love can purify all. So love is the trial by fire that humans go through. It's great, but it is punishing, and we endure. And then there's stories too about him dying and being reborn and reincarnation, and love surviving the different incarnations that he goes through with his wife Radhi. So different aspects, and the myths have some symbolism, but they are there. And yeah, he does ride a parrot, so cool stuff. Did you get anything else?
Yeah, this kind of does coincide with my research a little bit that every site said something kind of different. So
Mm-hmm.
this was actually really challenging to find the actual real information because I actually do have a few conflicting things.
Ooh.
And like I said, like based off the websites that I went to, like some were different. So I tried to find the most consistent things
Yeah.
in the research. So I looked at mythologyworldwide.com, learnreligions.com, and probhukwar.in. So we got the same thing that Kamadeva is the divine embodiment of love and desire, also known as the god of love. But I got that he was the son of Lord Shiva and the goddess Parvati,
Ooh.
that his birth was to rekindle their love because there was a curse that estranged the two of them. So maybe this coincides that he was created for them because like you said, like he was he was created because he needed to like shoot Shiva, or was that something else?
He was
He
called
was
on to shoot Shiva to wake him up from meditation.
yeah, maybe that was part of
Part
it,
of it.
but yeah, so we found a little bit of conflicting
Different.
information on that. Um, I found that his role in the cosmos is to help souls connect through the divine thread of love, and not just romantic love, but also
Mm-hmm.
spiritual, the union of the soul with the divine. And his portrayal is visually striking. He is often portrayed as a handsome young man adorned with floral garlands. His appearance is very captivating, symbolizing the allure and beauty of romantic love. And the I found some representations of his weaponry, I guess. You said that the bow is made of sugarcane. I think I did see that somewhere, but then also found that it represents the ability to create desire and attraction as well. And I did find something similar about the arrows that they're tipped with five flowers attached to it. They represent the five senses, but you actually showed like an actual object and what it represented with each one.
The representation of that certain flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they do kind of intertwine with just slight differences,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of makes sense with this like mythology that things are going to kind of get twisted, things are going to get like lost in translation. It kind of turns into like a game of telephone, so people
Yeah.
are hearing different things. But about his parrots, apparently all Hindu gods ride what's called a vahana, which translates to vehicle. So they all have an animal that represents the various spiritual and psychological forces that carry each deity and represent it. These Vahana are connected, but not connected to their respective god. Some say that the Vahanas might represent talents that fill in shortcomings in in the deity's abilities. So some scholars have also suggested that the Vahanas represent the minds of human followers, which are thereby allowed to be guided by the deity's wishes. So, like you said, sometimes there are portrayals of them riding their Vahana, and sometimes they're being pulled on a chariot
Mm-hmm.
by their Vahana. So, Kamadeva has the parrot, and the parrot is a symbol of love, communication, and spiritual growth, which you mentioned. So, kind of the same thing. And some other Vahanas. Shiva has a bull, Parvati has a lion, and Vishnu a serpent. So that was kind of fun.
It reminds me of like I don't know, toys from like the 80s where you'd get a guy and like he has his own like lizard he rides. Like everybody gets their own like animal companion.
Yeah.
What
Or
was that? Is it
Animorphs.
Mask or something? I don't know. He-Man had tigers, right?
Everybody has an animal friend.
I was gonna say it's been a long time since I've taken I took mythology classes in undergrad, so it's been a while, and we didn't go super deep into Hinduism, but it's my understanding that the gods are, I forget the name of it, but they are one entity. And it gets really confusing because there's like hundreds of them, if not thousands, but they are all one and the same. And that's hard to understand. But the way I remember learning it was in Christianity, Christians believe Father, Son, and Holy Spirit are three faces of the same God. They are all God, but they are three different entities, right? So that's kind of what Hinduism is as well. So when you're saying like he was created or emerged, like that might make more sense if we understood the religion more. I'm not just speculating here a little bit that it might be.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover in Hinduism.
Yeah, and we're not experts,
Yeah,
but it's
we're
really
not
cool
experts,
though.
but if anybody out there is Hindu and has a better understanding of these gods, we'd love to understand it more.
Send us your thoughts. And what animal would
At
you like to ride?
theoreticalnonsensepod at gmail.com.
I'd ride a dire wolf. Oh, the dire wolf would throw me off and eat me. Yeah, that's what would happen.
And then you will become one.
And one, I am one with the dire wolf. No,
Until it
Ryan, you're
poops
just
you out.
dead. And I gave the dire wolf my pinworms.
Except they only exist in humans.
Aw.
Ryan's final revenge fail.
And failed. Oh. Well, it cost me my life and cost me everything, and it didn't work. Okay, anything else about...
That's all I got.
So Leonard mentions Raj falls for any girl who just smiles at him. It's kind of true, but you know, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And he mentions that he just a month ago he was writing poems about Bernadette. And Howard just looks over like, what? And Leonard recites, "Oh, Bernadette, please play my clarinet." And Howard's just like, what the fuck?
What is happening right
What's
now?
happening? And Raj says that it doesn't matter because right now he is the dusky half of Kuthra Penny. I like putting those names together. Kuthra Penny.
Yeah.
Sheldon then chimes in, "I do have genitals." So
Yeah.
took him a while
And they're
to
quite
come.
aesthetically pleasing.
They're quite aesthetically pleasing. At Penny's apartment, she opens a wine bottle and is looking for glasses, but she has no clean ones, so she ends up pouring the wine into a measuring cup. And she mentions that, wine glasses should have handles and is carrying her around like a mug, basically. Amy
I
comes
never really understood that trope in TV shows where like they resort to a funny glass. I don't know if I'm just an alcoholic, but whenever I couldn't find a glass, I just drink straight out of the bottle.
That too, yeah. Or just wash a glass out really quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be gone in the next couple days anyways, if not tonight, so who cares?
Right? Rob, that was a 2-gallon bottle of Jack, and it's gone tonight. Glug, 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 in my belly. So Amy comes to the door, and she's heard what Penny has done. Penny says she screwed up everything. She's like Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Horror. I think this is weird because if she's Mrs. Whore and not Miss Whore, that implies there's a Mr. Whore. I don't know. I'm Mr. Whore. Yeah. Amy brings up the story of Catherine the Great and mentions that she is the Russian ruler from 1700s and claims that she set up a pulley contraption to have sexual relations with a horse. And this is my third and final IQ point. Did you do this?
I did.
Did you
This
want to
was
start
actually
this one?
really, yeah. So, she brings this up because Amy says, like, she engaged in interspecies hanky panky, and the people still call her great. I'm sure
Yeah.
your reputation could survive the shagging a little Indian boy. It's like that's some perspective right there.
Some perspective.
So I found this on skyhistory.com and straightdope.com. Um, so this IQ point specifically relates to the death of Catherine the Great. So that's all we're kind of focusing on because otherwise her entire life story would just be too much. So just focusing on the horse aspect.
Just
So,
on the horse. Eyes on the
yeah,
horse.
yep. And that's horse, not whores.
Horse.
So the myth is that legend has it Catherine was intimately involved with one of her prize stallions, with who she often spent a great deal of unsupervised time with. One evening, while attempting to have sexual intercourse with the stallion, the harness holding the horse broke, sending the beast crashing down on top of her. Another popular myth that surrounds her death, it wasn't the horse that killed her, but a collapsing toilet seat. So whilst this one also just absurd rumor, it lies ever so slightly near the truth. In reality, Catherine the Great died of a stroke, and she was discovered collapsed on the floor in her washroom. She fell into a coma and died the next day whilst lying in her bed, and the cause of death was confirmed by autopsy. So both of these things were complete rumors that were spread out to smear her reputation. So she was a very strong female leader in the 1700s. So men did not like that. So in order to kind of knock her down in terms of reputation, they made up all these rumors. And this rumor got debunked like a long time ago. I think it's just kind of crazy how it spread at that time. And even though the autopsy was spreading out too, it's like, no, that's not how she died. Just the power of a rumor just kept going on and on. That just wasn't true. So yeah, I mean, I don't know when it was officially debunked, but like that one of the articles that I found was in 1978 that even said that it was a myth. So it is kind of crazy that I at first I thought it was like, oh, it's kind of crazy that Amy even kind of like did she insinuate that she thought that that was the truth, or is she just kind of like relying on it's a rumor and she survived that rumor. Her
I was
reputation is
wondering that
still that she's
too.
great.
Yeah. Because she says
That's
it
like,
like it's fact and it's not fact, but it would make sense if she's like, she had this harmful rumor and survived the harmful rumor.
but I guess what happened with Penny isn't a rumor.
That's true. It's not what it looks like. What does it look
Yeah.
like?
But either way, this did not actually happen. It is fully myth. And it reminds me of what we had talked about in a previous IQ point, um, Caligula.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that and how there was all these rumors surrounding Caligula because, well, he was partially crazy, but he was partially really great leader at the same time.
Yeah.
But his enemies were trying to smear his reputation, so they kept creating these rumors that he was having sexual relations with his sisters.
And I think I brought up in that one too that there was a guy that I read about, I forget his name right now, but he was really liked in the community. He put together a theater to give people jobs. He had more money than the local church and local politicians, and he had more power because people liked him so much. So the local politicians and the local church teamed up to say that he was kidnapping kids to have sex with them and abuse them and do witchcraft and basically just threw all this like horrible stuff out. So today he's been said to be like the worst serial killer in history, but it's pretty clear that that was all made up to smear his reputation.
So he wasn't a serial killer at all?
He wasn't. The facts
Uh,
do not add up to that. And we also get shit like that rumor that Richard Gere put an hamster up his ass.
I don't even remember that one.
You haven't heard that one? Uh,
No.
South Park has like a whole episode on it where a hamster gets shoved up somebody's ass and he has to make his way up the intestines and he pops out somebody's
Mr.
mouth.
Slave.
Mr. Slave.
Yep,
That,
I remember that episode. It was actually very catchy music too.
right? He's like on the hero's quest through like the three trials, right?
I am the Sparrow King. Or the Sparrow Prince. I was placed up here years ago.
But apparently, I've heard
Lemmy Winks.
Lemmy
That's what it
Winks.
was.
There we
Yeah.
go. Lemmy Winks. That what is it? The guy who played Rocky.
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I've heard that the rumor started with him that he didn't like working with Richard Gere, that they really fought a lot. And so he started a rumor that Richard Gere put hamsters up his ass. Not sure how true that is, but there is like that urban legend there.
A rumor on top of a rumor.
Rumor on top of a rumor. Meta rumors. Rumorception.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think I had most of the same stuff. I had a little bit more about why her critics might not have liked her, and part of it was that she was pretty well known and pretty well respected. That she was a patron of the arts, sciences, education, literature, and did a lot of good things, making Russia like a global competitor in the world. In fact, it wasn't just her critics in Russia that were like smearing her reputation. That throughout the world, throughout Europe, people were trying to bring her down. I read about a newspaper in, I think it was France, or maybe it was somewhere else in Europe, doing a picture, like a political cartoon of her basically fucking the country Russia, like straddling it. And so it wasn't just Russians who are smearing it, like people around the world see this powerful woman and their response is, how can we bring her down? And a website I looked at said this happens time and again. They mentioned Cleopatra, Mary Antoinette, and Anne Boleyn, that powerful women often get depicted as whores, right? And they are great in their own right, but because people don't like them, they attack them. But another reason that people might not have liked her is because she wasn't actually Russian. She was born a Prussian princess named Sophie and adopted the name Catherine after converting to Russian Orthodox Christianity. And she married, as a teen, she married a czar, a future czar. But within 6 months, she overthrew him with an army-backed coup and took over his place. He ended up dying like 8 days later, so she kind of used that position and took over. I didn't read much about him, but it doesn't seem like he was that great of a guy, and a lot of people wanted him out. So she, yeah, wasn't necessarily Russian and took over the government in a coup, which could give reason for why people didn't like her so much. But yeah, I mentioned that women throughout history and people throughout history who like are have strong critics, that the critics battle it by making shit up to try to bring them down. And like you, I found that she actually died from a stroke at the age of 67 and died the next day after she had the stroke. So, all right, anything more on Catherine the Great?
Nope. Yeah, that was my last IQ point too.
Yeah, the rest of this episode's really good. It's just that's where it ended. And, I didn't put it in here, but I did have a point that I skipped over, and I just remembered it. Yeah, so I missed it at the beginning, but I did give myself 1 point for being like Sheldon, because at the beginning he has spent like hours thinking about her statement of, it's not what it looks like. And Leonard's like, just let it go. And he's like, I can't just let it go, right? And so, anyways, I get 1 point because people, yes, if things confuse me, I will keep repeating it and thinking about it. But I'm sorry I missed that, but I'm getting on track. That was 1 point for Sheldon. Okay, so moving forward, at Raj's apartment, Bernadette storms in, and she's so great. It's so funny. She's yelling at him. She's mad because Howard's acting weird, and she yells at him about what's going on. He says he thought he had a shot because she was nice to him. And she screams that she's nice to everyone. And so he's stupid for thinking that. And I love it because she storms out after saying, like, make it better with Howard. And he goes, do you think I have a shot with Penny? And she screams, of course you do. You're a cutie pie and any girl would be lucky to have you. Bam! Love
I will
her.
flag that I guess her and Howard's fight is over.
Yeah, right. They kind of skipped over that, but they were fighting the night before because she had bought him the watch, and he wasn't like completely comfortable with that. It was his friends were getting in his head a little bit.
I guess he kind of flipped it around and he approached her and was like, "Hey, is there something going on between you and Raj?"
Yeah, what's this about him writing poetry? And technically, she doesn't know anything about it, right? He was.
Yeah.
Everybody else seems to, but I don't think she did or Howard did. Everybody kept it a
Nope.
secret. Which I think was kind of an asshole move on Leonard to like throw him under the bus. Like he's just stirring up shit because he's cranky.
Yeah.
All right, so Penny's apartment. Penny says she's done this before. During recess when she was a kid, she was supposed to marry a boy at recess, but when she got there, he was engaged to another girl. Her response was to hang upside down and show all the boys her underwear, so her underpants. Like, wow, what a character. Amy talks about the skank reflex that putting out gives you much needed dopamine. So maybe that's what she's doing. That yeah, she's looking for.
Well, she also said that neurobiologists refer to what's happening as the skank reflex.
That's
so. I did try to look into that to see if do they really? Is this really a technical term?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. But
No.
if you look that up, it does bring up a lot of porn.
Oh my.
Yep.
I'm guessing it's a different reflex that they're talking about too. All right then. Penny wants to go out and go somewhere no one has seen her naked. They might have to go far to get somewhere nobody has seen her naked. And they start to leave and Sheldon and Leonard are standing there like about to go inside their apartment. And Penny just slams the door shut. And they're like, that's kind of weird. Penny asks if she can stay with Amy for a few nights, just get out of here. And Amy gets excited for her first slumber party. And
her reaction is gold.
Right? It's like, this is amazing. She'll teach Penny her secret language and starts talking. And it's like gibberish. It's like, right? It's not even Pig Latin or anything. It's something very different.
Yeah.
At the guys' apartment, Leonard is dressed in camouflage and he is not happy about having to play paintball and is like, do I actually have to wear this? And I love Sheldon turns around and is like, who said that? Where are you? I can't see you. And
I like that too.
Leonard takes his hat off. He's like, there you are.
I did do a little bit of research because when I saw him come out in that gear, it just kind of got me thinking. It's like, this can't be the first time that he's wearing camouflage.
Right? It's like we said, it's not the first time they've played paintball. So
it got me thinking. I was like, well, what do they plan? So technically, I went back to all the times and I found the imagery. Technically, they always play in camo, like some sort of like camouflage pattern, like colors and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the first time that they had like branches and leaves and stuff like that on his helmet and stuff like that. So that's what they're probably referring to.
Did you ever play paintball?
I have, and I just I did not do camo. What I did was I went to Value Village and just bought like some cheap stuff, like cheap jackets and stuff like that to kind of build covering.
Yeah,
but yeah,
so it's not just hitting your skin.
I love it.
I think I've mentioned before that the guys I used to play with put their pressure up too high, so the balls wouldn't break. They just would hit you and leave like huge blood welts, and like they wouldn't even pop because they're like the acceleration was up too high, velocity, whatever it's called. And I'm like, I don't think it's supposed to hurt like this. And people would like make fun of me, like, oh, you just are too weak to play paintball. But then like I'd lift up my arm, my whole arm would be like a bruise. And it's like, yeah, paintballs aren't supposed to disfigure your arm, right?
Yeah.
And like they like would give me like they like if I got hit in the head, I remember like being stunned, like the world would spin and like I would have to take like a minute to come back. And like I played with somebody else, and like their paintballs were fine. So it's just like these guys that I played with regularly were just assholes, I guess. I don't know. Maybe other people have the same experience, and I was just a weakling. But I wore secondhand clothes. I wore my dad's old clothes that he wore for like fishing. He never really hunted, but he had like a camo sweater, so I'd like wear a long sleeve shirt and like a camo sweater over it, and like a camo jacket, and then like some green pants that were kind of not super camouflage looking, but a little something.
It was fun, and I always went. I didn't know about raising up the pressure would actually make it not pop. Like, why is that?
That's what I've heard. My understanding is that it's going so fast and hits so hard that it becomes more like a blunt object and isn't able to absorb the impact and pop. And that's I'm not an expert. I haven't played in 30 years or something. I don't know.
I know it's been a really long time. I've always heard horror stories of jerks like freezing their paintballs.
Yeah. And maybe they
That's
did
why,
that
like,
too. I'm not sure. I just remember like they weren't popping, and I was left with these huge welts that were just like I don't want to go on dates, because if I do and somebody sees my arm, they're gonna be like, "You have pinworms or something." Like it would look so bad.
yeah, I remember every place that I went to, they forced you to buy the balls there, and they would
Mm.
even check them there and everything, which I think is a great thing. To be
Yeah,
honest, I think that's great.
safety wise, man, that was and that's something too. Is like every now and then you watch a paintball thing, and even in this one, Sheldon takes his goggles off to talk a little bit. And like, I would never take my goggles off while playing
Never.
paintball.
Yeah.
They even if they're going the right speed and they aren't frozen, they can fuck up your eyes. And I know the ones that I was with, they would probably burst your eyeballs if it hit your eye.
Oof.
That's how hard they were hitting. So yeah, that's don't ever take your goggles off. And then Sheldon has gotten somebody on the computer to talk to Leonard, and it is Leonard's mom, guest star Christine Baranski. And I actually think this is really sweet of Sheldon. It's not something I would expect Sheldon to do, but he has noticed that Leonard's upset, and he's trying to help out in his own Sheldon way. And I thought that was sweet that getting his mom involved to say she'll be able to help. But he explains the situation to his mom. Leonard explains it. He doesn't want to get back with Penny, but he doesn't like that she slept with Raj. He just found out that Priya's moving, and he asks for advice. And we get her saying, buck up, sissy pants. And he can buy her book on Amazon if he wants more advice. So she is being not great, but
I wonder
at the same
how.
time, I agree with her.
Well, yeah, but I wonder what her sales are like
Right?
for her
Buck up.
books.
Title is Buck Up, Sissy Pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't say I disagree with her that he's kind of whining, and I can see him being mad about Priya, but it, you should be over Penny. If you're not, then deal with that. But it's not like I don't want her to be with anybody. I don't want Raj to be with like that's yeah. We are at Amy's place now, and Amy is getting done brushing Penny's hair. She's like on like brushstroke like 99, 100, and calls it a what was it, a waterfall of blonde hair or something. I didn't say write down exactly what she says, but she loves Penny's hair. And then she says it's her turn and turns around. And I love Penny just picks up the brush and starts brushing as well, as
Yeah.
if that's what you do. Penny says she doesn't know what she's doing. She hasn't had an acting job. The only gig that she got called back for was a hemorrhoid commercial. And I love Penny or Amy goes, I could definitely see you being the face of hemorrhoids. She's like, yeah. Maybe she'll just move back to Nebraska though because she's not having a good time. Amy says she can't let Penny do that. She's basically the focus point of her social life, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to her. She like really reiterates that she is living out her middle school and high school fantasies with Penny. There's a knock at the door, and it's Raj, and I love he's been drinking. He has like a flask, right? So he's able to talk. And Raj knew Penny was there because Amy's posted about it all over Facebook. And I love Amy turns around and just kind of smiles, like, yep. Raj asks if Penny is free Friday. He's asking her out on a date. And Penny explains she was really drunk and that sleeping together was a mistake that could ruin their friendship. And I like Raj's response. I didn't give him a point, but I still really like it and support it. He goes, "How could sex ruin a friendship? That's like ruining ice cream with chocolate sprinkles, right?"
Yeah,
So,
great logic.
right? Penny sits him down, and says she just wants to go back to the way things were before, friends with no sprinkles. And Raj says, okay, but as her friend, she might like to know. And he pauses. And this is, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see them sleeping together coming. So I'm not surprised by it, but I love that this is the way the writers took this. They didn't actually have conventional or sex in the conventional sense. And I love that Penny looks at him like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Sex in the conventional
Why
sense.
would you word it like that?
Right? And she goes, did you pull some weird Indian crap on me? And apparently they got naked, so they were going to. And she asked if he had protection, and he did. He's always packing. And she tried to help him put it on, and that's all she wrote. So just helping him put it on was enough for the premature ejaculation. And that's all she wrote. Penny clarifies they didn't have sex. Raj says he did, and it was beautiful. I love his
Yeah.
optimism, right? I did, and it was beautiful. Penny promises she won't tell anybody. He asks if he can tell people their love burned too brightly and too quickly. And she's like, yeah, sure. And he says, ask if he can say that she wanted to have babies and he was just too rock and roll. Penny says, no, you can't say that. It's too rock and roll. He asks if he can say he ruined her for white men. And she's like, no. And her face is like, her facial expressions are so great sometimes. And here it's just like, the fuck, man, right? Raj says he'll see her around, and she thanks him for being a friend. He says it's getting beautiful again, and she quickly pushes him away because yeah, it's a little too close enough for comfort, I guess. We're at the paintball field, and Sheldon is holding an iPad, trying to get the battlefield to load, but it's not loading thanks to AT&T, he says. And he finally gets it up and mentions that the other team, the geology scientists, are out of sunblock. So they're going to be hugging the tree line to stay in the shade, and that's their edge, if they can sneak up on them in the tree line. Leonard asks why Raj didn't say anything about Priya moving back to India. I feel like that's a good, like, I wonder if he even knew. It was kind of weird that like he hadn't mentioned it or he wasn't pushing. Like for him to just ignore it seems kind of weird to me. Howard says Raj was too busy writing clumsy penis metaphors. Raj says they were beautiful penis metaphors, so he stands up for his poetry. Leonard wants to quit the game. He's just not in the mood. Everybody else is kind of complaining too. Sheldon says they can't quit and tries to prove that it's not just a game. This is serious. Sheldon says he forgives them for their mutiny, though. It's his fault. He tried too hard to show his status, and he tries to rip his bars off, his uniform, but they're sewn on too well, and he can't get them. And he goes, well, I guess I'm a better sewer than a, general or whatever. Howard says, don't worry, buddy. We'll get you a Jamba Juice on the way home. And Sheldon says, no, Jamba Juice is for heroes. And then he goes, wait, we will be heroes. And he walks out and screams, geology isn't a real science. And he just gets pummeled with paintballs. They hit him from all directions, all colors. And Howard screams, damn those sons of bitches. And the guys run out fighting and kicking ass and taking names, right? Back at the apartment later at night, they are toasting to their victory. They won thanks to Sheldon's sacrifice. And I like that the day turned around for them. And they're all kind of in shitty moods, but they had a good time together, showing the power of friendship. Penny comes in also showing that Sheldon like set them up for success. Like he knew what they needed, I think. Penny comes in and wants to apologize to all of them for what happened. And Raj takes over by saying they've decided to let... what did I put here? let this be a one-off. And he puts his arm around her, and she kind of gives that look again, tells him to take it easy, quick draw. And he immediately takes his arm off her, like, nope, that's all. And Penny confesses that she has been thinking about moving back to Nebraska, that she sucks at acting and things aren't working out and she needs to accept that. And she says maybe she'll teach acting in Nebraska. And then her agent calls and she got that hemorrhoid commercial. Everybody asks her, what about Nebraska? And her response is, to hell with Nebraska. I'm going to be a star. So her moods are lifted too. She leaves. Sheldon asks if Leonard has ever thought of teaching physics.
Burn.
Moving forward, it's showing
I did clock a little smile on Leonard's face when he realized that Penny was staying. So
I didn't notice that, but good catch.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of my predictions too, that I think she's going to get more parts and probably be a star, kind of like Joey and Friends started picking up more and more roles at the end. Technically, he had the soap opera, but he made fun of the writers, and so they killed him off. Do you remember that?
But they brought him back.
And then he was in some movies too, so he kind of started making a name. So I think she's going to get some more movie roles, and that's going to be interesting, showing her like as at least a secondary star, if not a main star. That'd be cool. And then Penny is about to ride a horse in this commercial, and somebody's playing her mom is like, "Are you ready?" And she goes, "Not today, Mom." And the mom says, "Oh, your hemorrhoids must be acting up again." We have a guest star, Stacey Travis, and she's been in a lot of stuff, a lot of movies too. She was things I know from. She was in an episode of The League. She was in 2 episodes of Angel. She was in A Christmas Story 2, which was like not really an actual sequel. They just released like a Christmas Story that was like the actual sequel with like a lot of the same actors. Did you see that one?
I did not.
I liked it. It wasn't as good as the original, but I feel like they had like 2 or 3 sequels after A Christmas Story that were kind of goofy. And this one seemed
like straight
more
to VHS kind of stuff.
Yeah. This one seemed more authentic and touched on some of the same nostalgic
canon.
It's canon. There you go. Yeah. Stacey Travis was also in Easy A. She was in a movie called Venom that I always really freaking hated because it was about a slasher, a serial killer trying to collect souls, and had nothing to do with Venom, the Spider-Man character. And when it came out, I'm like, they're finally making a Venom movie. And like, I sat down and watched it. I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Where's the symbiote?
Where's the symbiote? Where's Spider-Man? This makes no sense. Although, to be fair, and I guess in the new Venom movie, Spider-Man's not in those either. So whatever. She was in Traffic, which was a movie about drugs back in like the late 90s. And then my big one in the 80s, I believe it was, she was in Phantasm Part 2. She was a female character in that. And I love the Phantasm movies. If you don't know them, they're about this guy, they call him the Tall Man, who is like a real big influence for Slender Man, but he wears a suit and he looks like a very scary old man. He looks like he's like 7 feet tall, and he's takes care of a mortuary. He's like an undertaker, and he's actually from another dimension, and he's collecting dead bodies to turn people into slaves for his dimension. And he has these little silver balls that fly around, and they cut into your throat, and they have little pumps in them. So if they get into your throat, they pump all your blood out. And so every now and then one hits somebody and like just starts pumping their blood out until they fall over dead. And I'm like, it's so freaky. I love it. But yeah, great set of movies there. They get really kind of crazy. So moving forward, the mom, Stacey Travis, says she should try out a dab of this product. And gives her a little tube that is rose-scented Preparation H for women. The H is now for her. It's such a great...
So cheesy.
So cheesy.
Love it.
I'm like, why would you want rose-scented anything on your asshole? Like, so... And
because why not?
Why not? And then Penny looks at it and looks off the camera. And I like Leonard says, "I'm proud of you." And she goes, "Shh, her joke's about to come up." And her and her mom are riding horses in the video or in the commercial, and she's on horseback, and she says, "I'm sitting pretty." And that's the end of the
Yeah.
commercial. And the end of the episode. I'm sitting pretty. And now we have the vanity card, which is a really long one again. So let's get to it. Chuck Lorre Productions 349. Every night before going to bed, he would brush his teeth and make a preemptive attempt to void his bladder. He then walked into his closet, got on his knees in front of a shoe rack, and prayed to a god whose unlikely existence he likened to an ongoing quantum event. In this mind, the act of kneeling mattered not at all to this supposed god. He could just as well pray standing naked on his bed with his ass serving as a fleshy vase for a banquet of flowers. The penitential pose was only useful as a demonstration of his humility in the face of the infinite. Although when things were going his way, it was more of a feigned humility. The prayers themselves mostly consisted of thanking his subatomic almighty verb for assembling an infrastructure that allowed for life to exist. This included, in no particular order, the various laws of physics, gravity, organic chemistry, and thermodynamics. And since it was his belief that sentient life was created by an insentient universe, in order for the insentient universe to be admired, he made an effort in his prayers to tell the insentience, nice work or way to go. Finally, he would close with a plea for this nameless everything to look after the less fortunate. Please God, despite the clear evidence that it's not in your nature to care, bring love and happiness to all the souls who suffer. Then, his heart filled with grace, he could climb into bed and sleep peacefully until he dreamed he was standing in his closet and peeing on his shoes. God's clever way of telling him he had to wake up and go to the bathroom. All right,
Quite,
there.
quite the little bit of a mindfuck right there.
I can kind of respect that too. I'm still finding myself spiritually, but in the notion of understanding that sentience, understanding that we exist, I think therefore I am, coming from an insentient universe, something that does not think or realize its own existence. Like, you can still admire the complexities of the universe and the things that came together that to create humans if it wasn't divine creation. And I also respect the dreams about going to the bathroom. Sometimes I have them where I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom and the toilet's like on the ceiling, so I can't use the bathroom, which is probably good because I might pee the bed if the toilet wasn't like in a weird place. I always wake up and I'm like, I actually have to go.
Oh, so like in your dream, you're unable to, so it almost forces you awake.
Exactly. Like the toilet's in some weird spot where somebody's standing over it, or like I'm somewhere and there's no walls and everybody's looking at the toilet. I'm like, oh, I can't use the toilet. Everybody's looking at me, so I don't use it.
Yeah, I'm actually very lucky that I haven't wet the bed because in my dreams I actually can find the bathroom and I do pee, but then like while I'm peeing I wake up and I'm like, oh, I gotta pee.
I gotta pee. Let's stop
That
that
could
before it goes too far.
that could easily go horrible. All right, well we're at 3 IQ points.
And I got 1 point for being like Sheldon this episode, which puts me at 135 to 130. 135 not like him and 130 like him.
All right. Any other things about this
That's all I
episode?
have.
Yeah,
Good
strong
episodes.
start to season
Strong
5.
start. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Don't forget to send us an email at theoreticalnonsensepod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We love those. And like and subscribe on YouTube. So thanks again, and we will see you next time when we discuss Season 5, Episode 2, The Infestation Hypothesis.
See you then.
Thanks for listening. This was Theoretical Nonsense, the Big Bang Theory watch-along podcast. No PhD required. Our intro and outro music is by Alex Grohl. Thanks for listening. Revenge fail.